Andy Summers, welcome to Australian Musician.
Great. Is it actually Musician Magazine?
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, great. Because, there was one in the States. It's not that one. It's Australian Musician.
Yeah. We're no longer in print, but we're online,
Oh, oh,
online,
you're flying. Oh, well, join
and
the modern world.
we're in
That's
our
the
30th year next year.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support.
So you're bringing your cracked lens and a missing string show to Australia in September, which you've been doing all over the world. What,
Yeah.
what was the initial inspiration to present this kind of show?
You know what's amazing, because I've been doing photography, pretty seriously for quite a few years, and obviously been always playing music, that I didn't do it sooner. Um, I finally got around to it. So, I mean, what we're doing is really like a multimedia show, a big cinema screen. I worked out a bunch of really interesting, quite exotic sequences of photography, which go on, 6, 7 minutes each. And I play music to each one, a different kind of music to each one. So it's very guitar oriented, beautiful guitar sounds, big sound in the PA, strong visual material. And then, some with backing tracks, some solo guitar. I do a Brazilian section with a beautiful edit of Black Orpheus, the film, and I do some police material at the end. So, it gets a standing ovation every night, is all I can tell you. It goes well. You think it would be too out there for most people, but they're not. People love guitar playing and all that, and I do, obviously, the other multimedia part is I give it quite a lot of chat. So
Yeah.
I come on and warm up the audience for myself, as it were, before I pick up the guitar.
You say that every show is unique. In what way? How does
Well,
each?
because I never played, I mean, basically, I have these setups, on comes the next little film, as it were. And, it's more like to do with the sonic things I do, with a repeat echo, a certain type of sound. And so it will make me play a certain way. I play a piece called The Bones of Chuang Tzu, and I've got this kind of weird repeat echo, but I get into a whole thing with it. I'm sort of basically jamming with myself, playing beautiful lines, and then I get into this sort of harmonic rhythm. It's guitar playing at a certain level, and I've got very enhanced, beautiful guitar sounds. So it's a big sound, and it makes it very cinematic.
Yeah. As well as guitar heroes, did you or do you have photographic heroes, photographers
Oh
who
yeah, of course.
inspired?
I mean, I think one of the ways you learn in any medium is to say who are the really good ones. There's got to be some great ones out there. And so, of course, you get into photography, and probably the first person you get pushed at is Henri Cartier-Bresson, who was the great French photographer, and sort of set the first standards for what we later called street photography. And so you start with him and you get that kind of atmosphere in your head, and then you move on. Of course, I came in, you know, 50 years later. I mean, my heroes have been people like Lee Friedlander, Ralph Gibson, Dwayne Michaels, maybe Diane Arbus, people like that. Mostly New York-based photographers. There's some very good English ones as well. But I mean, I can't remember all the names, but I have something like 800 photography books in my house. So I've studied it quite avidly, the history of the different photographers and the thing. So yes, to me, it's very much like music. It's the act of improvising, knowing how to use your instrument very well, and being ready to jump in at any time. And I think the fact that I am actually an improvising musician and I can play the shit out of the guitar, it's really helped me with photography.
Yeah. So did you get into the rock photographers of the time, Henry
No, I
Dilks?
don't. Well, yeah, they're okay. I'm not interested in rock photography.
Yeah.
People think, oh, okay, you're going to do rock photography. I have no interest. That's not my thing. That's just sort of glamour, make a young kid look good. And yeah, that's not it. I like Cartier-Bresson and moved on from there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just released a new EP, Vertiginous Canyons, music to
mhm.
accompany some of your photography. Is it easier to write music when you have a visual element to inspire you?
Well, I think that's a really interesting question because, most musicians would like to have a go at film scoring at some point, putting music to film. And this was a very weird, well, not weird, it was sort of surprising and nice little outtake of that, because I scored many films years ago. I don't really do it anymore. I've lost interest. But I made a photography book, and the company came to me and said, would you put some music to it? What? Music to a book? How do you do that? They said, no, we can do it. So, I mean, the book in a sense, which is called A Series of Glances, is like a film, it's all the travels I did, very nice photography of different locations in the world. So they had a way where you could go on with your iPhone and lift it, and you'd get the music that I did for the book. I did 8 tracks, I think. I did it all in one afternoon. But, I tried to be sincere about it. I got the book out and sort of was flipping about in it. And then I did 8 tracks, which are basically guitar improvisations in different styles and methods of approaching it. And, they're all very pleased with it. And, my managers actually, I wasn't thinking of it at all as a new record. I thought, no, you can't put that out. I just did that really quickly. Everybody really likes it, so now it is going to come out as a record finally. So I've sort of gotten into it. I started listening to it again, thought, no, actually, I sort of like it now. I just thought it was this strange thing that I did for a book that had never been done before, and I've kind of moved on from that position. Now I want to put music to every book I read or write.
The show's called The Cracked Lens and a Missing String. Are
Yeah.
you a string breaker?
No, oddly, I'm not. I was just talking to the guy that works with, who's always on tour with me, Dennis Smith. I've just started to use this new guitar, which came as a complete surprise to me. The string changing on it is a little bit difficult, but I'm not someone who breaks strings. I never understand why people break strings. They either hit the guitar too hard. I mean, it's like, breaking strings like punching a beautiful woman in the face. That's not me, mate. Sorry. I play with a certain thing. That's a good metaphor, isn't it? I don't break strings. I break hearts. Oh, God. Yeah.
You do play some police music in the show, as you say, at the end.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, fairly early on, I play a beautiful song called Tea in the Sahara, which is really quite cinematic. In my life, I did go to the Sahara. I traveled there with a friend, and I took a lot of shots of the desert, the giant sand dune. I did all that. And who knew that some years later, I'd be able to actually put it up on screen and play to it. So I play, obviously, the melody of Tea in the Sahara. It's one of my favorite moments in the show. Yeah.
So how much did the trio format of the Police inform your playing? Would you have been the same player if the band had a keyboard player or another guitarist?
No, I think that the space afforded me the opportunity to really sort of spread my wings, because I'm a very harmonically sophisticated musician and I have the chops. So I was able to use that space really creatively. So thank God, I really enjoyed that. I was adamant about not having anybody else in the band. Of course, there's only 3 of you, so you get more money.
Is there a Police song you're most proud of for the construction of the guitar parts?
Well, I think, the obvious one, of course, it's not necessarily my favorite, but the obvious one is Every Breath You Take, which is now just past 2 billion on Spotify with the immortal guitar line, which saved the song and took it to #1.
Yeah.
Can't deny that.
Yeah. So how much fun was it creating the Andy Summers monochrome signature Strat with Fender?
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that whole process. I have a very good relationship with Fender, because I've obviously been promoting their guitars in a way ever since, the early days of the Police, always with Fenders. And that was a great project. They had a very cool art, guy in charge of the art department who came to me, and we went through a lot of photographs of mine, and we, figured out, I don't even really know how they did it, but I selected the photographs, and the guy, whatever his name was, managed to make this beautiful collage and get it into, he came back to me with a sort of like cardboard cutout of the guitar body, and was able to show me like it could be like this. And we went through about 3 passes of that, where I would have changed maybe 1 or 2 shots, and we got the collage. And makes it a very unique instrument. And of course, they're all sold. They all went right away. There aren't any more around.
Yeah,
I was
and
thrilled to do it. I never thought I would do something like that in my life, but it was a great creative exercise.
Leica created a signature camera for you as well. How high
Yeah.
how high do the guitar and the signature camera sit on your list of honors?
Well, I think, they go right to the front. I mean, not to sound like egotistic about many of these things, including knighthoods in France and all the rest of it. It's all very nice, but the reality is, that guitar, I look over, I can see it now. I'm smiling looking at it. Hello, mate. And of course, I was thrilled to get a camera made by Leica because I think they are the ultimate camera company. So those two twin things, they went together. Leica and Fender worked together, and I think everybody really enjoyed this rather unique setup that they'd never done before, either company. So I was pretty chuffed about all that. Yeah.
Are you emotionally attached to your guitars in general, or are they just tools to create music?
No, I'm very attached to them, and it is emotional. And I'm going through a weird moment where I've got about over 200 guitars, I suppose. I could, if I'd kept them all, I'd have 600. But I've moved to the States, got rid of some. My manager really wants me to do a big Christie's sale of my guitars, and oh yeah, mate, why don't you just keep 10 of them? So well, it's not really like that. I got, this is the typical scenario. I open the case and go, I'm going to get rid of this one, and then I don't know. I start playing that guy, and this is what happens every time. So I kind of bond with them. I don't really buy them casually. I buy them with feeling, and I keep them with feeling. So, I could do a Christie sale and probably make a few $1 million or pounds, and I don't do it. I haven't done it yet. They're trying to get me over the line.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. But, I think it's very healthy. I buy the instrument, I play it, it has a voice, it speaks to me, I feel its vibrations. There is, and I'm really glad that you brought that up as a subject because this is where I think my manager doesn't understand it. It's not some cold relationship. It's like you have to bond with the instrument. It's like a marriage. You go, I'm marrying this instrument, and we're going to be together, and we're going to do this. So, you
Yeah,
know.
especially if there are particular songs that are connected with.
Well, there's that too. Like, yeah, okay. Well, let's give a real specific example. It's like my original Telecaster that I played in the police. Well, of course, I played all those giant worldwide hits on that one guitar. That is never going unless it gets stolen. That's my original Telecaster. Yeah.
Yeah. You're very prolific with your album releases and photography projects. Do you ever switch off creatively?
Not really, no. I think it's what keeps me going. And I feel a bit bad at the moment because I haven't put out really a new album. I mean, this Vertiginous Canyons has come out sort of by default, but I'm sort of a little bit chuffed about it. But I haven't, one thing, COVID, all that stuff we all went through. And I've resurrected my studio. I've got all very expensive, new, beautiful digital equipment, and I'm dying to get in there and make a new record. I've got plenty of music. So I might try and crank out some stuff before I go off really touring for the rest of the year. But the beauty now is that you can put out one track at a time and sort of keep it going. You don't have to labor through, like the old days, a whole LP's worth of material and agonize over it. I could probably make some stuff quite quickly and get it up on the internet. That's the difference.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on AI in music and visual media?
Well, it's an interesting question. It's one that tortures us all, especially if you're a real live playing musician. I probably would say I hate it, but you can't deny its presence. I mean, probably we've only got about 10 years left before AI takes over anyway. We'll see what happens. Um, no, I believe in humans expressing human emotions with their musical instruments, but I'm, out of time, out of date. I don't know.
Yeah.
Australia may be my last tour. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Actually, it's been a long time since you were here. I think 2000.
Yeah, it has, and I sort of miss it actually because I've always enjoyed being there. It's Australians are a marvelous, sort of blend, if that's not insulting, between English and American, but I think more English. So I feel that you know, I can get away with a lot of humor in Australia that I might not in other places. I don't think Americans get it. They don't have the sense of irony that probably English people and Australians do. You know, I hope that's true, unless it's changed.
Yeah, I think it's the same. What about bucket list projects, things in the back of your mind that you've always wanted to get to?
Well, yeah, there are little things if I think about it, you know. I mean, they're almost like Spinal Tap cliches, really, but making beautiful music. You know, I am going to make more guitar albums. I want to make a solo album, complete solo. I would like to do a record with a string quartet, and I'd probably, you know, could work up to doing something with an orchestra. In fact, I just was asked to do that this week. You know, I like playing with other guitarists if they're at the right level. I mean, I really enjoy it all, but you know, like writing music for a string quartet would be a particular challenge, and I would probably need some help to pull that off. Not my playing, but I mean, I did actually do some tracks with a Kronos quartet, and that's probably what got me into it. You know, it was a marvelous experience. We did a Mingus piece, myself when I'm real. That was great. But I could see doing more of that and really doing a beautiful record with maybe electric lead lines with a string quartet. That could be, you know, something that you could tour with, and it's endless, you know, until they drag me off stage. I'll just keep going.
Yeah. So what do you hope people get out of coming to your Australian shows? And if it goes well, do you think you'd be back sooner than 26?
Well, yeah, you know, it's like opening the door to this great country. Yeah, opening the door to back. I'm back. You know, I never left really, but you know, oddly, the last police gig was, well, apart from the reunion, we ended in Melbourne. So there you go. You know, so there's a special kind of emotional hook to that. What was the question? Yeah, sorry.
Whether you could come back after 26 years, it's been a long time. So if it goes well, would you come back with a different project?
Oh yeah, no, I think it will go well, and I'm particularly interested in doing this particular show because, you know, I do chat quite a bit, and it's all funny stuff, and you know, it's a standing ovation every night. You know, it's like I feel like I come on and do the sort of stand up, but I'm sort of warming up the audience to myself. Then I go to pick up the guitar, it's a different bloke, and off we go. Yeah,
How do you
like
how do you treat your support act?
very gently because it breaks really easily. Yeah.
Well, Andy Summers, it's been great to catch up, and we
Great, thank you.
look forward to seeing you in September.
I'll be there. Let's rock. Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. All right, I'll see you. See you later.